Hey everyone.
What's happening?
So it took us a while to get back to this. The weather did cooperate more so than last time.
Plus, it's only been a week.
Yeah. So, minor delay. But regardless, we're here now. We followed through with our plan. It's a WrestleMania themed night.
And it's legitimately WrestleMania 28. Because that's literally where the main event of the pay-per-view is John Cena versus The Rock.
Okay.
And they literally branded it as a once-in-a-lifetime match. No, well, actually, no. This is part 3. Because you know what? The following WrestleMania, they had the exact same main event. It was The Rock and John Cena. Again.
Okay.
But this time for a championship belt. So this time, it's literally part 3. The 3 times in a lifetime, we have John Cena going up against The Rock. But in the movies, in the place where it really matters, Hollywood.
Yeah. The only difference is that I don't really have anything against The Rock. He's not a particular favorite actor of mine, but honestly, I'm never gonna go see a movie just because he's in it. But again, he's all right at least. John Cena is a bad omen. I honestly can't recall a movie he's in that I genuinely liked, or at least was looking forward to.
And that's also due to past history.
Yes.
Well, it's both of our viewing sakes. And since, I've said this in previous videos, I am a huge wrestling fan. I don't care. It's gone past a guilty pleasure, and I actually legitimately enjoy it. But yeah, it's wrestling's infection on the movie scene has become evident. Well, not even recently. This has been a fact. Well, actually, do you want to get your stick in about how John Cena is a bad omen for you?
Well, that's kind of self-explanatory. He just has never appeared or starred in a movie that I've liked.
Primarily because I showed him John Cena's cinematic outing in The Marine, which I had on DVD when I was a kid because I received it for my 13th birthday, and it was a PG-13 movie, and that was when I was a big wrestling fan. I loved it, initially because action movies, John Cena, crushing, explosions. Yeah, someone like him actually saw through it and saw that it was actually kind of stupid.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm sure he can be a decent actor, but he's really he hasn't picked any good movies.
This is very true. And actually, what is your do you even have a general opinion about knowing if wrestlers or who wrestlers are in movies and them being wrestlers?
Well, it's really on a movie to movie basis. Sometimes movies sell themselves on the fact that it's a wrestler. Sometimes they are so absorbed in that fact that they try to make constant references to it. They try to like I said, it depends on the movie. In my opinion, the best way to make a wrestling movie is to not have wrestlers in it. That's why the best wrestling movie to this day is Oculus.
Okay. To clear up the confusion about that movie is not about wrestling. It's just made by WWE,
right,
WWE Productions.
Sorry, I should clarify. To make a WWE film.
Yeah, and that's been the only venture that they've tried differently nowadays, and it actually paid off. But now everyone is realizing the bad logo of WWE film.
Right.
But aside from that, in all honesty, the best wrestling movie is The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke in 2008. I had to watch it
I haven't seen that yet.
Nominated for Oscars, but it actually does take a grim look into an independent wrestler.
Okay.
Who works wrestling, but he doesn't appear for the big crowds. He works for small independent companies, offering his services for a little bit just so he can make a living. Okay. But anyway,
like I said, me not being a wrestling fan, I'm never gonna rush to see a movie just because The Rock's in it or John Cena or I don't know. Maybe I'll go see a movie with Randy Savage in it. But
well, he's dead.
He is?
Since 2011.
Oh shit! I didn't know that. This shows how much I know about wrestling. But
since I know a good bit about wrestling, you want to hear my little speech about my spiel about matters like this?
What?
So, okay, wrestlers have been in movies since a very, very long time. It's not even something that's now. It's been around since like the 80s or possibly even the 70s.
Right.
People like Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan is one of the worst examples because he himself is not a good actor, but he's a charismatic person, and that's how he was able to make it in the wrestling business. But even with supposedly wrestlers play the character in like real life when it's like improv sports. I've told you that wrestling is basically either improv sports or ballet with violence. But there is a difference between everything being scripted and like put to detail from a person's vision, and wrestling where you have different creative minds in different points. So at points, wrestlers in movies can work, i.e. Andre the Giant in The Princess Bride, because he was able to fit a character and actually be able to own it well and not necessarily stray away from their main construct. Hulk Hogan just tried doing something like that, but realized that he was not good at like reading scripted lines, and that's why movies like Suburban Commando or Mr. Nanny completely flopped. They did try other examples of this with, John Carpenter. He made a movie called They Live, I think. It's with an exclamation point. Rowdy Roddy Piper, the lead guy in that, is a wrestler.
Okay.
And that's considered to be the best wrestling performance in a movie in general, because it's actually a well-liked horror movie, and it's also made by a horror movie legend, John Carpenter.
Okay.
And, well, that was one of the only cases where they were actually able to use that talent for good. But it did continue on, and there weren't too many blips in the 90s, again, besides Hogan. But, the only person that would come up later on, I think, would be, like, Stone Cold Steve Austin, but he would come around to acting more in television shows in the mid-2000s. Okay. And believe it or not, wrestling fans, there are, like, wrestlers sprinkled throughout movies, like, in general history. For those of you who would be smarky enough to know, smarks are smart marks, and marks are like huge fans.
Okay.
Smark fans would know that Kerry Von Erich, the Texas Tornado, is in a terrible horror movie called Problem Child, as well as Terry Funk, legend of the hardcore legend wrestler. He like legitimately took chair shots and like barbed wire 2x4s and literally fell on like pyro with plates of glass. He was in Over the Top with Sylvester fucking Stallone. So there has been this variation and this like actual creative continuum of wrestlers being like in the spotlight of a movie and having it like kind of tank, but there have also been supporting roles that have gone to people who have actually been charismatic enough to be able to hold a candle to essentially, sometimes just small noticeable roles like, oh wow, you're featured in a movie, good for you. But in actually more recent years, they've actually tried to give the talent of acting and actually being able to play with a scene and play a character to people who have actually shown that they are charismatic enough or actually like capable enough of being someone that they're not. They can actually take on characters. That's where you bring in The Rock and John Cena. The Rock obviously is one of the biggest wrestling legends of all time, but this is a catch-22. Well, not catch-22.
What?
It's a term you hate. Last name Sue. But but yeah. Okay. There's a Mount Rushmore of wrestling that usually everybody has, where they have the four faces of wrestling throughout time, and a lot of people put The Rock's face in their Mount Rushmore, which even fans have sort of termed as being stupid.
Okay.
But The Rock is etched into one of them for many, many reasons. He was a theatrical and like charismatic performer in wrestling, and with his natural like genetic physique, like his dad was a wrestler before him, and he was absolutely jacked. Okay. So that's where Rock got his prime genetics from, and that's how he was able to stand out. But did you know that he actually got his intro into acting and film from playing the terrible CGI effect in the second Mummy movie?
I did not know that.
Have you seen any of the Mummy movies?
I have not.
Well, okay. You're not missing much with the first one. The first one's all right. But yeah, Mummy 2, The Rock pops up as this Scorpion King, and it's this awful CGI effect where it has pincer claws, and it's literally like a scorpion with just Rock's face CGI'd over it. It's horrendous. Yeah, that was his start into acting, but then he actually got leading roles in stuff like the Scorpion King and all that stuff, and I might actually add on to that in your review. But this is actually my review talking about John fucking Cena. Oh, you have to say, just say, Abudu!
Abadu?
Abudu! Just scream it.
Abadu!
That's like the three syllable, like, yell that comes in before the trumpets on John Cena's song.
Oh, okay.
So where the person says, and his name is John Cena, that's where it would come in.
Okay.
Yeah, this is so.
Oh, we haven't even mentioned the movie title yet. It's Blockers.
It's fucking cock blockers. They actually pull this shit in the beginning of the movie. They don't show the fucking rooster behind the title Blockers. If you put it on your advertising so much and you put it on your fucking trailers, you know what the fuck you're saying, you fucking hypocrites, you fucking think you can get away with that shit. Oh my god, I think I'm actually losing my mind by a stupid high school comedy. And I haven't even talked about the movie yet.
Actually, can I predict your review of this movie?
Go piece by piece.
Okay. You see, I wasn't really looking forward to this movie. The trailers made it seem stupid, but after the 1,680,490 times they referenced penis or sex in some way, that's when I knew this movie was going to be one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Or so you would think from the mind of someone who grew up differently than you and had a different mental path.
Yeah. But then again, let's be honest, Tom. As much as you'd say, I've changed, I've grown up. Recently, Tom tried to introduce me to the show Archer, which I knew what it was exactly, but I'd never seen it because it's adult animation on television, which is not really my thing because it's all crude humor and absolutely nothing else.
Family Guy, Simpsons, South Park, they're not your cup of tea.
Really, it's not. I mean, for me, good comedies are varied, spread, more clever than just how many ways can we reference fucking. And
that might be a new scale for just just TV in general. How many times to reference fucking?
Exactly. So for me, it was like, you know what? No, I don't really want to watch Archer. And you're like, oh, come on, it's really funny. And it's like, is it though? Is it just gonna be? And I asked him, is it just gonna be all crude humor? And he's like, oh, no, of course not. I mean, this show's so clean, you could show it to a Sunday school. And he shows me just one episode, and I showed
you 2 episodes.
No, you showed me one.
First
time you showed me one, and it was. Okay, it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. All crude humor, absolutely nothing else. And I turned to you, it's like, is there a point when the show gets funny? It's like, what are you talking about? This is awesome. You want to watch another one? I promise this one won't have as many crude jokes in it as the last one. And I'm like, okay, fine. So we watched the second one. It has just as many crude jokes as the first one. And he has the goal to say, oh, you want to watch another one? So now I'm completely turned off to Archer thanks to you. And I like how afterwards he tries to backpedal it by saying, well, those just happen to be some of the worst episodes of the series. Why the fuck would you show me that if you want me to like it?
This is a completely different subject matter.
This is a real different tangent, but that's the thing. Blockers, in my mind, in my narrow-minded mind, I think Tom is the kind of movie you'd be looking forward to.
Except I wasn't, and I've said this in previous videos before. I actually thought that this, from the advertising and from the fucking title, I thought this was going to be stupid.
Okay.
I genuinely thought that. Okay, and it also it was also oozing of that aura of trying to make like a hip movie for current teenagers. I know that's sort of the way that they did it back in the 80s. Like they were not necessarily referencing what's popular, but some would like to think that they were trying to take the best elements from the time that they were in and try and have it actually emphasize and not necessarily emphasize, but just add to the atmosphere and environment that the movie had. For me personally, that's what teen movies, back in the 80s, did for The Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, but then again, they also had John Hughes writing for them.
I really like Breakfast Club.
Have you seen 16 Candles?
I have not. I probably should, though, because I like John Hughes.
I adore it, but it's also his raunchiest. It's PG rated, but it is not fucking PG. But
it's 80s PG.
Well, speaking of this movie, so cock blockers, if you didn't know from the fucking trailers or anybody who was talking about it simply because of the goddamn title, and yes, I'm calling it fucking cock blockers because fuck you used a fucking rooster and you know what you were fucking talking about. I'm done with that tangent now. But yeah, it's about these three parents who really creepily, psychotically try and break up the sex pact that their three daughters, not three from one, but three daughters across three parents who started out as friends, I guess, but through like supposedly nostalgic video footage or like people taking videos on the camera, which makes it look like these people were growing up in the 90s, even though they reference that it's today and they use shitty cameras from maybe like 2008. Yeah, they try and stop their sex pact, and there's misadventures along the same night in this like chronological timeline, and they realize their relationships for each other and try and find stuff or figure out stuff that they didn't know about, like the parent to daughter relationship or the like not wanting to let go, because it's so much of this is so obvious. And the writing is all over the map on this, because there and one movie that everybody is either comparing it to now, like saying it's the version of this, is everybody is saying that it's the female version of Superbad. I would disagree with that heavily, because I fucking adore Superbad. It's like one of my top 10 favorite comedies ever, and which was so weird because guess who produced this?
The same guy as Superbad?
Fucking Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg produced this. Seth Rogen wrote Superbad.
Wrote and starred in it, right?
Yeah, well, he wasn't the lead. It wasn't his whole show. But yeah, it's so strange that he's still the producer on this, because this wants to be Superbad so bad. So yeah, I told, well, you see the premise and you see the advertising. Mm-hmm. What do you think it's going to be event for event during the story timeline?
Well, I would get again what you've seen from the trailers, which actually
personally there's a fucking scene that you and I talked about earlier that isn't in the goddamn movie.
Really?
But just keep guessing.
I have not seen trailers featuring the daughters at all.
Me neither. That's what I'm telling you as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen them. Nobody has seen like trailers or commercials with the girls in it, because honestly, they still do take a back seat to the parents.
I would just... Oh, they do? Oh, okay. Well,
they still technically do.
In that case, my guess for the events of this movie is that they're just kind of following them from location to location, trying to find out where people are, and comedy ensues because they don't get what's going on, or because they come across as creepy, obsessed, or embarrassing for trying to find their daughter so bad, and they have to go from place to place to place, asking people, getting into trouble, and all that shit.
You hit it on the fucking nose.
All right.
That's how this entire thing happens. So yeah, again, the beginning and like actual basis of the relationships for these people is really rushed. They do the show don't tell thing, but there's still an amount to show in an amount of time to show. Right away, they show the girls, the daughters meeting each other in like elementary, and it's okay. It's really weird how Hollywood tries to approach friendships. Like, apparently young kids, they get along right away once they meet each other. It's so easy just to say, hi, I know you. We're friends. Let's know each other forever.
Admittedly, that is kind of how you and I met.
Jokingly, because no, actually, you and I had a better basis. Because,
well, okay, yeah, my older sister knew your older brother.
Yeah,
but I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right.
That's a stronger basis because
kids do not get along in schools, at least not to this fucking kindergarten Care Bear level degree.
Not that quickly. It's not that quickly, but still, that's just the fucking tip of the iceberg. And I know I'm gonna try and talk through this quick.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so yeah, they meet in school. There's a fucking video montage. Oh, and it shows the parents getting along to get laughing together. Ha 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 ha. Oh, it's all cheesy and good. But then, bang, fucking prom night. Like the morning to prom night. And actually, they have prom night on a Friday night as opposed to a Saturday. Wait, okay, you didn't go, but you knew that prom was on a Saturday night.
Why would you do it on Friday?
I don't know.
That would like F up the whole school day.
It would. They don't even do it. Okay, they started at like 3 in the afternoon, which this movie's idea of prom, like stereotypical movie idea of prom, is way too big and way too complicated and like actually mostly. Unbelievable. I'll get to that in a second. Okay. But yeah, so they start smack dab on like Friday prom day, and it just shows like a scene which is actually shown in a couple commercials of the girls trying to build character and like get to know each other. But really, all they're doing is just trying to talk about their archetypes. Okay. One of them is the like faithful girl who has the good boyfriend, and they love each other, and she's gonna follow him to college. Okay. The other one is the Indian girl who's John Cena's daughter. She's basically the broy like sarcastic sassy guy of the group. Okay. It's like, yeah, fuck it, let's get laid. I want to get fucking laid. I want to smoke weed. I want to get drunk. Yeah, you know how that sounds like someone mimicking someone else about trying to party? They try and pass that off as serious dialogue.
That sounds like if I tried to blend in with that crowd.
Exactly! That's a dialogue trope that I actually find from Hollywood to be annoying, and I've explained it to you in the past with movies like How to Be Single. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people think that like actually describing a character or like trying to actually make your environment and dialogue seem realistic is just to be blunt. Don't be obvious. Be subtle. Hint at things. Make the audience piece some stuff together and actually be involved in the movie. That'll go to that stuff. That's even more for later. But so yeah, we only get that one scene, but we already have like individual scenes with the daughters interacting with the parents, and it's everything you'd expect. Predictability. So then, yeah, they go back home. They change very quickly. Like they don't even need that much time to put makeup on, which that is fucking false, by the way. Prom guy 3 times. No offense, buddy. But
none taken.
Not your cup of tea.
Yep.
But yeah. So then oh my fucking god. Okay, so the 3 parents are played by John Cena, Leslie Mann, who has been in almost every adult like lighthearted comedy known to man, and a guy named.
This is lighthearted.
No. Marketable, okay. Like easygoing comedies, like turn your brain out comedies. The third parent is played by Egg Barinholtz, who we were actually talking about earlier, the guy from Mad TV. Okay. He's the only character that's actually sympathizable in this, because actually he comes off as annoying because his entrance is getting a limo for his daughter, who, oh, by the way, lesbian.
Okay.
I'm trying to do this because even though the camera can hear it, obviously they try and cover it up as being subtle.
Oh, okay.
Sort of getting the message.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually doing something clever.
Oh.
Trying to describe to you what the movie does for that character.
Okay.
Yeah, they obviously show her as having lesbian tendencies, but they try and actually pass it off as the people around her not knowing what the fuck is up, except for her dad. Ike Barinholtz is actually sympathizable. Yeah, he's obnoxious in the beginning when he brings in the limo, but he's also supposed to be the fuck-up dad who cheated on his wife. But he actually becomes more likable later on because he calls out Leslie Mann and John Cena's idiocy, not even more than Leslie Mann's daughter's idiocy. So Leslie Mann has the daughter with the good boyfriend, and they actually are in love. The daughter, okay, so they make up the sex pact. The daughter has a messaging thing, well, the iMessage on her iPhone. She leaves her laptop open right when she's next to it, and that's the only thing that the parents know that they're on the sex pact with. She didn't take 5 fucking seconds to turn about an eighth of an inch and close her laptop and save their goddamn night. I was so pissed when I saw that. Like, okay, you would have been fuming in there if you hadn't, like, if you were sitting next to me. Like, I was so upset. And they show it in the same frame where, oh yeah, the messages keep rolling. And big shock, Leslie Mann and John Cena, they end up finding it, and they get the idea of, oh, let's fucking cock block them. They don't know what they're doing. It's bad that they're trying to do this. But yeah, and actually, Ike Barinholtz calls out their bullshit. He actually tries to stop them because it sounds psychotic. So that's what mostly makes him likable throughout it.
Okay.
Even though he ends up sort of changing his mind because he has a feeling that his daughter is gay. But he still tries to, like, go in and stop her because it looks like she's trying to get with a guy just so she can make it look like, well, also the lesbian crush she has, she tells her that, once you've actually, like, I guess, touched a penis. Because bar none, you would have hated this absolutely because of how much they reference fucking. I touched his balls, I grabbed his dick, dicks aren't for, like, dicks aren't for looking at, they're for using.
And I've said it before many times, and I'll say it again. It's not that I hate crude humor. It's, crude humor can be fine. It can be funny, it can be clever. It's when that's what the movie is made entirely around.
When it's the centerpiece.
Yes. It's not, for me, it's never something you should make a movie entirely based on. I mean, frankly, most of the best comedies, in my opinion, like I said before, are varied. Most of my favorite comedies have at least some bits of crude humor in them. But the important thing is that it's not everything. It's not like everything has to relate back to sex. It's not like you have to draw it out. For some reason, in this day and age, we think that the only way to be fun, to make adults laugh, is by referencing sex.
Yeah.
That's really frustrating.
That's most of this movie's dialogue. But okay, there are some funny parts. Like, I'll actually think of those when I describe the story a little bit longer. So yeah, they make the notion of trying to stop them. They end up at the prom. The girl, the Indian girl, the raunchy one, who's actually John Cena's daughter. Well, because in the trailer's like, I can feel my daughter's boobs when I chest bump her. Like. That's basically the entire tone of Cena's performance throughout most of it. But yeah, they end up at the prom. They start drinking. The parents find them at the prom. Ike Barinholtz sees them leave, but he actually leaves when they actually make a running joke about the one weird kid who does something big at, like, an event to stand out. Ike Barinholtz inadvertently stops him and, like, ruins some other kid's poor night. And they end up doing it later when they get to the final destination of the night. But yeah, they end up. Yeah, the girls I
just want to say, I had a funny thought earlier. Where imagine if it was done with like the Macho Man. And he didn't turn off his character, so it's like the daughter and her boyfriend are in bed together, and Macho Man, like, bursts through the wall. Oh yeah, the Macho Man's gonna fuck your ass.
Oh yeah, the Macho Man has come to rip open some ass and tear up some shit in this motherfucker. We're gonna try and go down and dirty. So,
and that brings me to the other thing too, where I said the only joy I could get from this movie is seeing John Cena beat the shit out of a bunch of teenage boys. Okay?
He throws he throws his daughter's date into the wall and the table once he comes across them.
Okay. So that might be the only part. I'm still never gonna see the movie for that.
Oh my god.
But didn't you say before earlier there was a scene we were talking about that didn't make it into the movie?
Yeah, that's at the hotel. But actually, One thing I actually want to bring light to of that is that, remember the butt chugging scene?
Yeah.
That's where they end up next, is the after party, when people leave the prom, the after party at the house or whatever.
Okay.
And the girls are there, but they haven't, like, progressed with anything yet. They just keep drinking. And, they act like idiots. They act like, oh my God, this is the best night ever. Let's take a selfie. Yeah, that annoying shit. But they actually did something clever. When they do the butt chugging scene, like, oh, is your daughter here? And John Cena is like, oh no, I don't want to do that. I want to do that. I've told you, John Cena is a fucking party animal. Like, with him being like a physical, like, specimen of nature, he needs to work out a lot, so he has his blood pumping a lot. He can digest alcohol like a motherfucker. He like the real life John Cena. He can drink a 6-pack a night, and like people have stories of him getting drunk. So I was constantly shouting at the screen for the entire time, "You're John Cena! This is nothing new for you! You've done crazier shit than this! You come from a PG era of wrestling, but we all know that you fucking know how to do it!" But yeah, they just go with the, oh, I'm scared whole routine of, oh, I don't want to do this. I'm going to do this for my daughter. Oh, this is going to suck. Oh, it's up my butt. Oh, it hurts. But the kids challenging them, they're not stupid enough as the parents. They fucking, they pour it away from the parents who aren't even looking. So they don't need to butt chug beer, and they're trying to make the parents look like fools. So that was actually something that was actually, I thought was funny.
Well, you know, I didn't even know what butt chugging was prior to trailers for this fucking movie. I didn't need to know it was a thing, but I still don't know how the hell it even works unless you have like a bowel to hose connector.
No, it goes, okay, yeah, it goes into, like, your lower intestine, and somehow it gets absorbed into your liver a lot quicker and a lot faster. It is actually something that people do, but it's only for the stupid, like, but they did it on Jackass, so that shows you the level of creativity that those people are up to. But yeah, there's not much at the house party scene except for them, okay, the Indian girl, her date does drugs and mixes drugs. They call him the chef. And that's actually kind of another funny joke that Ike Barinholtz does. He thinks it's, oh, the chef from South Park. Hello, children. I thought that was kind of clever. But, yeah, the Indian girl's boyfriend, they do a shit ton of drugs in this. And, okay, the partying that they do and the amount of stuff that they take in, unrealistic. Like, they try and pound back as quick as fucking possible, and they do the stereotypical, like, oh, I'm gonna blah, 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 and do blah, 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 and, I'm gonna be fine, but I'm gonna be okay by the end of the night, and speaking totally fine, instead of passed out face down and mumbling like he has actually seen before.
I've had to do I've had to babysit drunks before, okay?
No, we'll be subtle. You can put the pieces together.
Yeah.
But
to be fair, you weren't the only one. But
okay, very good. But okay, so then they leave from this house party. But here's actually one of the funny parts in it. When everybody is thrown in the limo. Oh yeah, by the way, the limo driver, creepy dude. Like, he's the kind of person who, he literally makes his introduction by rolling down the back window during the thing and saying, hey, I see alcohol there. Oh, don't worry, I'm not a narc. I'm just making, I wasn't able to go to my prom because my leg got crushed by a thing of concrete. So my job from here for my entire life is to make sure you kids have a good time. Does that not sound creepy or what?
I would jump out of the limo and call the police.
But they actually do go gung ho and not. Well, no, they don't pull the trigger on it being like any form of like actually creepy. They actually do have one funny thing where the guy is like, "Come on, let's get out of here," because the house party gets busted by cops. Because everything has to get busted by cops or busted by somebody in teenage movies.
If the parents were smart, that's what they do.
What, call the cops on them?
Yeah.
Okay, in that sense, they would want their daughters to not, like, lose their virginity as opposed to not get arrested.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, again, this is my problem with a lot of comedies, where if people just acted like functioning fucking human beings, none of this would happen. They say, well, it's for the joke. Well, it's like, it's not funny if you have to rely on pure stupidity for it to work. Again, most of my favorite comedies are about smart people.
Okay, well, okay, speaking of that, like, you know how you were saying, like, oh, they'll follow them and come across, like, on misunderstandings or whatever, and hilarity ensues?
Yeah.
You know who Gary Cole is?
Yes.
He's in this fucking movie, and
Okay.
we see him naked in it at one point, but we'll get to that later. The first time that the three run across him and his wife, who's actually the relationships in this movie are all over the fucking map. Like, but yeah, one of the dates is like with one of the daughters, so that's how they have a link back to where they know where they're going. But they walk in on, no, not walk in, they look from the window and see them having sex, and then they go to the creepy storyline of them being open about their relationship with their kids. And really, parents, if you want to be relatable with your kids, don't be 100% open. Be subtle, be their friend. Be their understandable friend. Don't try and be like buddy. That's just not realistic. But anyway,
I don't think anyone's going to be trying to take lessons from this fucking movie.
the way that the parents knew that that house party was happening was they came across the parents. But as soon as they leave, and again, the funny part, there's puke all over the car. Like in the limo, everybody pukes on everything. The lesbian girl pukes on her date. The John Cena's daughter pukes in the limo, and one of the other guy dates pukes. And it's over this, like, actually heavy orchestra music. And then the limo driver pukes. But then the lesbian girl comes up through the sunroof because the three parents are literally following them. And pukes on the hood of the three parents' car. And the parents actually crash the car perfectly vertically in a ditch. And this is after we see drunk Cena for like 5 minutes. And then they put him back to being sober. Oh, because he shit out the beer. And they're like, oh, the ass beer is gone. And, okay, even though you see it in the trailer, the exploding of the ass beer on Ike Barinholtz's face, for me, at least, it was shocking enough at that point because everything else was, like, stupid dialogue joke or like, pop culture base, I think. Mm-hmm. But, oh my God. So yeah, they end up losing them, but the way that they find out where to go next, they go back to Gary Cole's house. But I shit you not, it is a comedic version of Don't Breathe. I'm not even kidding. So the plan is to break into their house and look at their cell phone and like try and break into their cell phone to see where their son is saying they're going next. But John Cena goes in originally, and they're playing the two couple are playing a sex game where they're wearing blindfolds in the dark of the house, trying to catch each other. It's like a sexy version of Marco Polo. But and yeah, again during this time we see Gary Cole's ass, we see his wife's tits, and I thought this was funny only to describe it to you as a comedic version of Don't Breathe because yeah, they can't see anything, but John Cena and the later Barinholtz, they have to be quiet in order to try and sneak around. And it's all just to look at the goddamn phone. And for the first bit of it, Cena's in there and the two are sitting outside. They're not doing anything as opposed.
I really don't want to give my thoughts because my mind is going to some very dark places in relation to Don't Breathe.
Oh God! Well, it's not going to get any better when they have to try. When Barinholtz thinks that he's helping Cena in all of this because Cena's cornered and Gary Cole has him. Well, and supposedly, well, they're
with what? Like a turkey baster full of semen?
No.
Okay.
But so. So the Gary Cole and his wife are kitty corner from each other. Barinholtz is here, John Cena's here, and they literally have to try and mime out what the other blindfolded person is doing to the other person. So John Cena's like grabbing Gary Cole's chest and like rubbing or whatever, and actually Ike Barinholtz gets his balls grabbed by Gary Cole's wife. And they do this weird sign language or like lip reading where they actually throw subtitles underneath and try to directly say what the guys are saying, what Cena and Barinholtz are saying to each other, even though we pretty much already know what the hell the situation is. You literally do not have to spell it out for us. Oh, and by the way,
How long did that scene last?
It lasted 3 minutes. Jump cut to them going outside and running around outside. We don't even see the reaction of the people. We don't see the reaction of the couple. It's just, oh, grab Ike Barinholtz's balls. Ow, 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 ow. Cuts outside. Cuts outside in the middle of the street with their cell phone, which Leslie Mann just happened to grab. Like, okay, that's sort of an idea to describe this movie. It has maybe some workings of something either creative or maybe something of shock value that could be funny. Some of it was funny, but they give up too early and try to go for something conventional. They just give up and try and move on, or like go with something that will just further the plot. And the ending is really weak. They meet up at the hotel where like the supposed other the last part of the night happens, and John Cena just attacks the boyfriend, throws him through a table, talks with his daughter about, oh, you made me who I am, blah blah blah, and okay, Ike Barinholtz actually does get his daughter to confess to him that she's gay, but only after they make a premature ejaculation joke with the lesbian one's date. Like, cause, oh, you know what in your heart, if you grab a guy's dick, that's what the lesbian's crush told her, which actually she's not too bad looking, and she's Asian, and she legitimately wears a cape throughout the entire prom night. So that was actually kind of fine. But, yeah, so the lesbian girl just grabs the dick. He jizzes and he's like, oh, yeah, that's cool. That's fine. And they don't even make reference to it. So, yeah, and, okay, the girl, Barinholtz, the dad, is the first person that she's coming out to about being gay. That's sort of fine, but they kind of ruin it when he's like, oh, I did it, I knew before your mom, and before Frank, oh, this is so amazing, I'm so happy. Oh, by the way, really shitty, Barinholtz's thing is that he quote unquote cheated on his wife, even though his wife cheated on him before and was abusive. And that's the reputation that he has is, oh, he's just the cheater now. Nobody knows the full story. And like, they don't even go into detail about how terrible his wife is or was to him, but they have a good amount of time to focus on puking as well as like other like gross out. Oh, by the way, they go to the hotel, they make up, and actually Leslie Mann lets her daughter bang because also Leslie Mann is the divorced housewife, so she's the one who I'm afraid of being alone, and they have to spell it out in the movie again, being blunt. Yeah, exactly. You sound more mad the more you hear about what this movie has.
God, just describing this movie to me, why, it's not even just that these movies get made, but that people go see them and people love them.
Okay, the critic rating for this is higher than the audience rating. The audience rating is actually rotten technically on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
I don't know why the critics like this, because the only point that they try and recognize feminism in this. Oh, and John Cena's wife, who is Indian, because they have to make an Indian American child, but she actually calls their bullshit out too. Like, you are fucking psychotic. Why do you think girls are damsels in distress, and why is it different about girls losing their virginity as opposed to boys which that just goes back to the argument that people make about, oh, why is it bad for women regarding sex, but when it's talking about men, it's like a positive? Or
I think, honestly, for any healthy parents, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter whether it's boy or girl. It's like, if you're underage, don't do it.
That's sort of what they try and get at too, is that like, look, this is such a touchy topic. Okay, this is such a touchy topic, but this movie doesn't know how to handle it responsibly. They think that they do.
That's the thing. I guess that's a you bring up a perfect
damning point.
Yeah, is that if you have anything reasonable to say, but you're going to smother it under comedy and just an excuse to make sex joke after sex joke after sex joke. It's a syrupy
ending too. It's a syrupy, sappy ending. Like, it ends with all three of the parents who are now friends again because they were distant at one point. Which, aside from okay, when I was watching this, I wasn't too upset that I actually sat through it. I'm glad that I actually took my time out to try and analyze this and actually like test myself. Well, that's how much I love movies.
Honestly, the way you're describing this movie, I honestly think the sappy ending you're talking about is just a high school orgy. And the parents are just like, you know what? I'm okay with this.
Okay, so I want to say the girls are actually like likable in this, but really the only likable one is the lesbian, but at times she isn't focused on because she's like half of the time in this she's drunk. Like she just plays a drunk person. And oh, by the way, the Indian girl, again, she's the one that has the guy with the drugs. Weed, hash, and DMT, which is like, it's basically just like cocaine weed, and that it's that purified down and it intensifies that much more. But it does. You can have. Okay, this is where I try to make comparisons to Superbad, because Superbad took a taboo topic, like dorky guys trying to lose their virginity, and basically the movie just ends with the girls taking a college road trip, and oh my god, a flat fucking ending. The parents like again seeing their chat and like, oh, let's do drugs, and then the girls know that they're watching, like, haha, we love you, we're kidding, blah blah blah, and it just ends on them like, oh, I got you guys, it fooled you guys, right? End credits. Flat fucking ending. Oh,
okay, honestly, God, there's so much stupid in that. So all they have to say is, haha, just kidding, and then you can go do drugs anyway?
I don't even know what. Okay.
Hey, sweetheart, what's this hole? What are these holes in your fucking arm?
What's this hole? That's a blood donation.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, oh God.
Okay, but so
I didn't even see this movie, and I already hate it.
Okay, but they actually, again, something funny. John Cena actually tries to do the Don't Breathe sex game with him and his wife. Although for some reason she's not naked at all, and John Cena's bare ass again. So like Trainwreck, I've seen John Cena's ass before.
What about his 3 foot long dick covered in a towel?
I didn't see the dick.
Okay.
I did not see the dong. But it's okay. They play the game at night. Oh, and they're having fun. Daughter walks in.
Okay.
Just like some other jokes that were earlier on in the movie. Well, okay, so certain riffing style comedy where a movie scene is up and then you add in stuff like a certain show that I still like and you have problems with, but we're not going to say the name of it now because of taboo. But yeah, I was saying throughout most of this, I was literally telling jokes while the movie was playing. Like,
were you the only one in the theater?
No, but nobody cared. I was front row.
Oh,
so,
okay.
but yeah, early on, John Cena, his wife, going through the laundry, I see panties. Oh, I love these panties. These are so sexy on you. Yeah, they're his daughters. They're his daughters. They're his daughters. They're his daughters. Wife says, they're your daughters. Yeah, I fucking called it. During the Don't Breathe sex game. Yeah, she walks in. She walks in. She walks in. She walks in. Oh, she walks in. And the like naked wife of Gary Cole. One of the only funny parts of the movie, the limo ride. She pukes. She pukes. She pukes. She pukes. Oh, she pukes. So yeah, predictability is a plague of this movie. Even though there are some parts of Ike Barinholtz was actually likable. They don't put enough time on the girls though. Everyone thinks that this is like being the feminist Superbad. No, back to Superbad. We knew. For the people who saw the movie, we knew those characters, and they actually did take time to build them up. They didn't have a completely different subplot. They had a completely different subplot where still one of the main characters was one of the connecting devices. The McLovin guy, the white shirt guy, he gets picked up by cops later in the night, but the cops show him an amazing time, and they say, "Fuck it, we know this kid is underage, but let's be cool and let's actually show him a good time while he's in high school." While I do like the idea of movies all taking place in one night. That hasn't been a new thing in cinema. It's been in American Graffiti, Dazed and Confused, even in Reservoir Dogs, a Tarantino movie, as well as Hateful Eight. So I like general movies that take place over one time span in one night, and just seeing what random events can come up during an event. Also, Die Hard is another example of that. So that's something I still liked about this movie. They actually did try and take it from location to location and try and make it interesting. But the storyline is predictable. Some of the dialogue is still cliched. And again, like this movie wanted to be Superbad so bad, but this movie didn't invest enough time into actually looking at the relationship between all the three girls. They only relied on video montage footage as well as a couple scenes of dialogue. When I show you Superbad, the lead two guys and actually the third guy, you see them build their chemistry, and you see them with the friendship that they have right in front of you. Michael Cera and Jonah Hill, you actually believe that they're friends. You believe that they know every single detail about each other, and they can actually play off of one another perfectly. That's why they're actually considered to be two of the their names in the movie are Evan and Seth. They're known to have one of the best chemistries or friendships on screen. You can be the judge of that when that time comes. Okay. But there's almost none of this in that because of the distracting plot device of the parents. And even the parents themselves, they seem dysfunctional, but again, you don't know that much about them because the movie doesn't invest enough into the characters themselves. It tries to invest more into the scenarios and into the situations, which again, that can work. But again, we need to know the people themselves going into this. And the wrestling point, John Cena, he's a cash cow. He's slowly turning into a cash cow like The Rock is, even though he is actually charismatic. And sometimes the faces that he has can be hilariously creepy, or they can be pants shittingly cringy. But so John Cena is the most 50-50 out of all the parents. He's sometimes he's actually funny, sometimes he's really boring, but sometimes he does outlandish things. Oh, by the way, that one scene where you saw John Cena grab Ike Barinholtz and swing him up, some parents have superhuman strength, grabs him, what the fuck? Throws him into the ceiling. Doesn't happen. That doesn't fucking happen.
Damn it.
Yeah,
of course, I thought from the trailers that it was supposed to be a teenage boy that he was throwing around.
That was Ike Barinholtz, one of the parents.
Damn it.
Again, Ike Barinholtz is obviously the better of the three. He's actually relatable. And again, he calls out the bullshit and psychoticness of the other two. And Leslie Mann, you're rich. You're married to Judd Apatow. I'm not saying retire. I'm just saying you don't need to just pick roles for money anymore. Pick something that you can actually perform and do well with. Funny People was a good example. As well as your supporting role in Knocked Up. And I know I'm going to wrap this up soon.
Okay.
But yeah, John Cena, he can actually be good. He was actually, I thought he was decent in Trainwreck. And, he actually does have acting capability, but he needs a better script. This was written by two people, two brothers, I guess. And, of course this was written by men, supposedly trying to big up women and actually trying to be on their side. Even though they still resorted down to only one character actually. Well, okay, yeah, the perfect girlfriend, the daughter of Leslie Mann, she gets laid. One just goes to second base, I think. Yeah, no, third base, and then the lesbian girl comes out and kisses her crush. So that goes as conventionally as possible. Superbad doesn't do that. Superbad, okay, and another thing with the alcohol and drugs, that premise is them literally trying to find booze and buy booze so that they can get with girls. But not everything goes out the way they planned. That's what actually a lot of people like about Superbad. It had surprises. It has surprises, and it actually has it has character. It has character because it actually brings up that as Seth and Evan, they actually have separation issues. They know each other so well that they actually bring up how one is possibly bringing the other down. They develop character. You love the characters. And those of you people who don't look into details that much, I will bring up quizzes to you later in the future, and you will remember Seth and Evan way easier than you can remember someone like Mike and Dave from fucking Wedding Dates or whatever. And the only reason you know them is because of the fucking title. So yeah, this movie it mixes up so many things. And yeah, there was a couple funny moments once in a while, but with something that is okay, this is conventional. Like, and I've seen. Okay, I might have put it out to me also seeing a lot of teenage based comedies. I've seen a lot of them, and you haven't too much because you are picky choosy.
I'm not. Just don't interest me. I'm sorry.
Although, but you have seen The Breakfast Club. You haven't seen 16 Candles. What would you have seen at any point?
Not really. Not much. I'm sorry. I don't like crude comedies.
Well, okay. Superbad is a crude comedy that has point to it. It has it has style to it.
Okay.
It borrows from like a 70s score of like old timey not necessarily like swing, but it's like funk music.
Okay.
Because I guess they're trying to pay tribute to like some whatever. But Superbad had style. It had character. It had good humor and a storyline that kept you guessing.
Okay.
Since you put it on prom night and again, they take a taboo subject and try to make it serious, but if you want to be serious, be responsible with this material. Again, some parts were fine. John Cena wasn't like noticeably grating, and well, okay, to be fair, they actually didn't reference his buffness so much, aside from him throwing that kid. But yeah, I would like good teenage comedy movies to come out. And I guess from what I've seen, the only good ones that I can actually think of, or the only good one that I could think of out of the past decade is 21 Jump Street. 21 Jump Street, Superbad, and
Edge of 17?
I didn't like... Edge of 17 hasn't aged that well with me.
Okay.
Would you be able to count... No, you can't count Scott Pilgrim because he's not in high school in that movie.
No.
Fuck. Even the beginning portion of The World's End is a better high school movie than this.
Oh, right. Okay.
When the beginning montage when they show them going through the pub crawl, that's a better high school movie than this.
You're right. You are absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, 21 Jump Street's is your favorite comedy of all time.
One of.
Oh, one of? Okay.
Animal House is top.
Okay.
Yeah.
I should mention, I like Animal House.
You've seen it?
The ending. I've seen the ending.
Okay, I still have to show you. That's also a movie that doesn't directly rely on sex and drugs, even though it has sex and drugs in it. It's about a school experience. It's about a college experience. It's about pranks. It's about mischievous nature.
From the last 10, 15 minutes that I saw of it, I think I would like the majority of the movie.
Okay, yeah, and that's another movie that has character to it. It introduces you, and that's a big cast movie.
I think that's really more my problem than just the fact that every single joke is crude, is that there isn't any decent characters in these movies to justify all that crude humor.
Okay.
Because they're not even really characters, they're just joke dispensers.
The girls try to not be joke dispensers, and they actually try and have some humanity to them, but they do take a back seat to the three parents.
Okay.
Yeah. So this doesn't accomplish what it wants. This movie has an audience. There are people who will see it and like it and think that being obvious and blunt is funny. And oh my god, there's an American Beauty reference in this.
I haven't seen American Beauty. I'm sorry.
It's Kevin Spacey.
I know what it's movie. About. I just don't know.
It's also Kevin Spacey trying to seduce a underage girl, which has not aged well with time.
Nope.
Exactly. But oh my god, Inception moment. When they're trying to chase down the limo, obviously they gotta fucking mention the Fast and Furious. And, because they mentioned in the trailers, what would Vin Diesel do? They mentioned The Rock. They mentioned The Rock on the... Oh, yeah. And Leslie Mann just said, I've seen the one where The Rock punches, Jason Statham or something. Or, yeah, they mentioned The Rock with John Cena in the back seat. That was one of the
no reaction, no comments, nothing.
No. I was the only one that nothing. They didn't reference it in the movie.
I mean, John Cena, he didn't.
He didn't say shit. He didn't say shit.
He's not like, man, I fucking hate that guy or anything. Nothing.
Nothing.
Oh.
Okay, so overall, yeah, I didn't like this movie, but it's not one of the worst I've ever seen. It's just bungled in a handful of different ways. Okay, the first thing I said as soon as I stood up from this movie, this just makes me want to watch Superbad.
Okay.
I just want to go home, look on YouTube, and it's by the way, it's one of the easiest movies to find like online or like through Bing or YouTube or whatever. I just want to go home, watch Superbad, and enjoy myself.
Okay.
Although this made me realize that Gary Cole is one of my boys.
Okay.
I love Gary Cole.
Okay. So that's Blockers.
Flip side coming right now.